This is Sharifa. She's a fully veiled celebrity chef in Nigeria, changing the narrative on Muslim women. In Nigeria, or much of the world, women that wear niqabs are often considered less educated and oppressed. But Shari is an entrepreneur selling a line of non-MSG cooking spices. She's a content creator and even invited me to be on her cooking show. For Shari, wearing a niqab is a matter of values. The Muslim women she admires the most dress this way, and that's how she wants to live her life. Previously, when selling her spices, she always hid the fact that she was fully veiled. She thought people would judge her or stop buying if they knew. But that all changed when Shari decided to tell the world she's proud of who she is. Shari is now an inspiration to Muslims and non-Muslims across Nigeria. Shari wants others to know that you can still live your values and have a successful career. Someone's religious values does not make them any less than the next person. I was moved by Sharifa's story and important message to live as your authentic self. Thank you again for the amazing food and wisdom you shared with me.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I was wondering if you could, for the camera at least, tell us a little bit about the two different foods we've created here.
Okay, so here we have two meals. We have ojojo here.
Ojojo, of course.
Ojojo is made with water yam and then some spices. We add a whole of different spices to give it real flavor. And then here we have asaro. Asaro is made from yam, but I added sweet potatoes and then added some vegetables. I added, well, one vegetable, ugu, and then just mix everything. There's some fish here, mix everything hopefully healthy and delicious.
Awesome. Well, very excited to try it. So we'll try the ojojo here. I got a chance to taste it earlier. It was really good, but now the finished one. Okay. Yeah, very good. It's got a nice savory flavor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crunchy on the outside.
Crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside. Okay. Kind of like perfectly well done. Okay. So I think I'm gonna have another.
You like it?
Yeah, very well done.
Amazing. So you haven't tasted this at all?
And now this one.
So ojojo is it an Ijebu dish? It's like a starter dish, you know, it does everything a starter dish you can do. I think, I'm not sure if it's from Ijebu, that's part of, but I come from Kwara State and it's made there too. So I do not know, maybe it's my parents just, you know, acquired it, or it's from, particularly from Ijebu or whatever. But it's one of the dishes. We're used to taking more yam, a particular type of yam than others. Water yam is not very common. It's also the one used for the Ijebu, Ifokore, something like this, asaro, but a little bit different. So this asaro is, it's a nice dish that takes you away from the regular rice meals.
Let's try it. I'm very excited. It looks so good. That is nice. It's sweet. It's sweet, but it's got some spice at the end. Like, yeah.
Do you like it?
That's also, yeah, this is very good. It's exactly, it takes you away from the regular rice and gives you something different. This is like, this is really good. This is like if I were sort of homesick or something, or having a bad day, I would love to come home and eat this.
Yes. There's everything, nice balance of sweet and savory, and then some vegetables in there. So this is your first time eating it?
Yeah, this is my first time.
I'm glad.
It's really good.
I'm glad I took the advice from my friend. She said, just make asaro. And I'm glad I did that. Something you haven't taken.
Yeah, all of these are amazing.
And to say that we didn't use seasoning cubes.
Exactly.
You know, we didn't use seasoning cubes.
So tell us a bit more about, like, how did you decide to start this business where you're, you know...
Okay.
Yeah, you told me the story earlier, but tell me again.
Okay, so I've always been somebody who doesn't love to eat, who doesn't like eating, but creating dishes. And of course, because I didn't eat well, my immunity wasn't particularly good. I was quite sickly. And so growing up, getting married and having kids, they seemed to have that kind of thing too. They were sickly. And so I was just like, okay, let me check in. What are we consuming? Maybe I can put in more vegetables, more vitamins, some more antioxidants. And then I started making my investigations. However, starting to use spices and herbs was more like an accident. My big sis, she knows that I love to cook. So somebody who traveled to, I think, the West, gave her a gift of different kind of spices, but unfortunately, they didn't come in their bags, so we didn't know the names. And so she said she tried using them, the meals were horrible, so she transferred it. Maybe I could do something about it. They were very strange. I smelt it. So I read a lot. So I have this very my imaginations are very vivid, So I have read about different spices like cinnamon, cardamom, coriander, and somehow I tried to imagine what they were. So I was wondering, at that time, I don't even think I had a phone that could Google. So it was difficult to even try to find this thing I'm saying. So I cooked with it, and it was horrible. It was. Do you know agbo? Okay, agbo is local herbs concoction that you take to heal different. It's as a traditional medicine, and they're usually horribly bitter, and they have extreme flavor.
And that was the food you were making.
So that was what I made. And because it was food, I love to cook so much. I was very disappointed. And of course, nobody ate the meal. We had to throw it away. And then I was like, no, I don't give up easily. And, I told a friend who was traveling, okay, you know what? I know those things and spices. I need to know the name to even have an understanding of what they are. So I asked her to buy me a whole lot of spices. So when she brought this, I was now checking the ones I was gifted. So I would smell as if, this seems too strong. Ooh, this smells sweet. And then I decided to play around them. I think I started this like 10 years ago. I decided to play around them. And by that time, I had stopped using seasoning cubes because I read a lot about MSG. So I had stopped using seasoning cubes. And then I was using the spices. And I was even shy to even tell people because what is normal here is everybody uses seasoning cubes. So I went to a place called Nairaland. And usually guys are in Nairaland. So I asked, do you think Nigerians are ready to take something different in terms of seasonings? I want to use spices and herbs. I don't want to use the regular seasoning cubes. And a whole lot of the guys were making fun of me. What's this one talking about? I beg, woman, come out here. Waiting you won't use cook. Now, can you poison you won't give us? There was just one guy who said I shouldn't listen to them, that maybe it might become something, that I should try it.
Right.
And that it could just become something. And then, so I decided to take that one guy and, try it. I started talking to people. Of course, when I started talking about it, nobody believed me. They were like, so what are you going to use? I said spicy. My food now be tasting like Saudi. So a lot of Nigerians who are Muslims, they go to Saudi for Hajj. And then usually when they eat their food, they don't like it. They're like, no chilies, has very strange flavor. And that was a problem, getting people to like spices. And I started a cooking program where I would invite people to come. They'll pay for it. I'll invite them. And I'll mix up the spices from scratch, roast the spices, pound it, and then cook with it. And people started believing. And then as years goes by, I continued doing it. I became better, formulating, made a business out of it. And it's been very interesting.
That's amazing. So,
and funny, we became healthier.
Yes, that's good.
Yes,
that's the most important part.
That was it. We actually became, I made it holistic. I'm careful what I add to my skin, my hair, what I eat. I check my levels. But really, we became healthier. We rarely need to go to the hospital.
That's awesome. So one thing that's awesome is you have a growing business. So tell us a little bit more about your business and kind of what are some of the things you do.
Okay, so, what I do is I produce this natural seasonings. Because I've been running business for quite a long time. I've been doing business for like 15 years, but when it comes to spices, close to 10 years now. So I have understood the Nigeria market. I like to study people. I like to study trends. I like to read and research a lot. And I have seen the things that would help my business be better. And so I do the spice mix. I also train for passion, train women, especially Muslim women, how they can make a successful, how to have a successful business, even working from home. I live up here and my business is down. So I do that as a passion. And then I just create content, continually create content for myself, for my business. And in recent times, it's been good.
So one of the things that I think is very unique, you might be the only Nigerian celebrity chef or the only one that I know that's wearing a face shield.
Yes.
And I think that's something that's very unique, and a lot of maybe Nigerians and people from other countries see that as, maybe someone that's less educated or, wouldn't be running a business, like this. And so I'm curious, I think it's really cool that you are breaking these boundaries, and I'm curious, like, how have you thought about that? How has that been received? And how have you sort of moved forward with that?
So the average Nigerian, not even, let's not move out of Nigerian, do not think women who wears the hijab, which is the covering without a face veil or with, that we are even intelligent. What people, so there's this concept. There are people from Ibadan that dress like I dress, but not exactly like me. They're usually illiterate. They don't even cover out of once, so they're forced to wear the face veil. It's an archaic, I don't even understand how it started. So these women are usually not educated. So when you see a woman dressed like this, people will just think, oh, maybe you are from those women. But I dress differently from how they dress. And because of the way I dress, it was a little bit more difficult for people to even listen. Okay, yes, so when I open my mouth and start talking, they were like, oh, she speaks good English, you know. And so it was difficult. I've had a lot of not so nice statements. But funny enough, I wasn't online. I mean, people didn't know how I looked. They just guessed. They didn't know how I look. And then 2021, I just decided, like, I did a documentary. I wanted the world to know this is who I am. This is accepts me the way I am. I do good business. I'm intelligent. I'm smart, and I can do all those things. And in recent times, this is very interesting. When I say I want to inspire the next generation of Muslim women and girls that they can achieve their dreams even from working from home, I get a lot of people who are not even Muslims, including males, that would say that you inspire me. I went for an event last week, Sunday.
You inspire me. So.
Thank you. I went for an event last week, Saturday, Sunday, and a young man, I saw him moving around my stall, but I thought he was also a vendor. Until later he wanted to buy something, and he just said very shyly, I follow you, you inspire me. And I was so amazed because it's a man. I haven't ever seen him correspond with my page, so I didn't even know he was following me. And then he brought his wife to say hi, and the wife told me, he follows you. Everything you do, and he's also into the food business. He has a small restaurant, and the wife was like, he follows you, he sees everything you do, he's always coming home to tell me about what you do, and we are so proud of you. And it was an amazing event. I had so many women, young women, they'll say, hi, please can I give you a hug? And then they hug me, and it was an amazing event for me. I realized at that event that I was doing well. I realized that what I hoped to do, I was getting it. I had too many young girls, not too many, but quite a number of young girls giving me so big hugs, just saying, you inspire me, I love what you do, and I'm so happy to meet you. It's amazing. And it's just not Muslims. That's the funny thing. I have lots of women who will tell me that, you know, when I say I hope to inspire the next generation of Muslim women, they say, you're not even inspiring Muslims. You inspire me as a mom, you inspire me as a mother, that if she can do it, and then I get some people who say when things are very tough for them, they go to my page, look through and say, if she can do it, then I can do it. I have to work 10 times more than the average woman. It's tough running a business as a woman, but as a woman in hijab and the face veil, it's extremely tougher. So for every time I get something good from people, it's magnanimous in my sight. You know, when I talk to you, I was worried. You know, I was like, what would he say? And then one little girl that I love, she told me that, why don't you send him an email? And I did. And when you said, oh, no problem, when I'm in Nigeria, I was so excited, you know. And the same happened when Opayemi came to. I was very worried about, because I have this trauma of I've spoken to people the way I am, and then they've insulted me, they've flipped my veil. So I'm always very scared speaking to people who are not like me. And so the day I was going to meet Opayemi, I was very worried. I would go and then turn back. It was at a fair. I would go close to him and then turn back again. And then somebody was pushing me from my end that, go, the worst he could tell you is no. I was like, how about if he embarrasses me? And I just got my courage and I spoke to him about what I did. And it was no problem. And, you know, we fixed it. He came. He is an absolute amazing guy, you know, and he's been wonderful. So, yeah, it started rough. I'm sure there's still rough ways to go, but it's been amazing. Yeah, I think I'm not, it's a very rare thing to see somebody like me doing what I'm doing. But, yeah, I follow the rules of my religion. I stick to it. I try to be as conservative as I can. But I understand trend, follow trend, rates. I read a lot. I do lots of, I create strategies. I do a whole lot more. Just times whatever you see any woman doing, times it by 10. That's what I do.
So one question I wanted to ask, we talked about this earlier, like at least for my American audience, like a lot of Americans see, face feel as, oh, it must be, her husband wants them to do it, or it's oppression or something like that. And you talk to me more about kind of the reasons why you want to be who you are, be your authentic self. And I was wondering if you could highlight that again.
All right, so yeah, most people think that women who dress like I'm dressed are oppressed, especially Americans. In fact, I have friends who would say Americans will come meet them and say, we can help you, you don't have to be oppressed. And the funny thing is, we are actually the least oppressed. In fact, the way my religion has made women, we're like jewels. We're actual jewels. And so I'm not saying that some women aren't oppressed, but most of the time it's more cultural than what the religion says. Women have, the leeway women have in my religion is so amazing that you could tap from it. So number one, I decided to wear the face veil even before I got married. I mean, I ensured that the man I was going to marry was somebody who would not stop me from wearing the face veil. I believe extremely in modesty. I believe of the separation between men and women. I believe a woman should have certain qualities that make us not just Muslim women. It makes us feminine. It gives us the power that to be as feminine as I want to be while I'm still covered and modest. So nobody forces anybody to do anything. My husband, he's an amazing man. I know some people don't have it as good. My husband is absolutely amazing when it comes to doing my business. He's extremely supportive. If I were to come today and say, Ivy, I'm going to America, he'll just say, oh, let's check where would we drop the kids? He doesn't ever give me problem, except it's going to be trouble for me. And then I told him I wanted to come to Port Harcourt to do some business. He said he's not comfortable about Port Harcourt. And I'm sure, because the least experience you have with Muslims, the more volatile some people could be, And so he was worried about that. I still hope, I'm a woman now, I still hope to be able to talk to him to allow me to do that. But we are not oppressed. We are allowed to do anything. We can choose to wear the niqab. It's not compulsory. And my kids don't wear the face veil. But we're not oppressed. We can do anything, absolutely. And as long as it follows, it's allowed in our religion, we are allowed to fly and flourish. So there's no oppression here. I'm confident. I'm intelligent. I'm brilliant. I'm raising kids that way. I can become a professor. My best friend has a doctorate in robotics. And she's a lecturer. She dresses the same way I'm dressed. She did a master's. She came out as the best graduate student in our university, and then she went to Dubai for her master's. She did her PhD. Right now, she's a lecturer in robotics. See how well we can do. Nobody stops anybody. We're not oppressed. We're allowed to do anything. Like again, I said, there are certain people who actually oppress the women, but it's more culture than the religion.
Well, one thing, my channel and everything is known for like authentic traveling. So obviously like being your authentic self, living, sort of who you are. And that's kind of what I try and do.
Yes.
And so I was curious if you could kind of talk more about that. You have, a decision to be way more public about who you are and sort of project that to the world and show them who you are. I was curious, how did you make that decision and how have you been feeling about all of that?
All right. So in 2020, I was doing better business. We were earning more, and I was able to put my business into a Nigerian seven figures, Nigerian, not dollars, Nigerian seven figure. And I looked at where I was coming from. I came from a place, my husband isn't rich at all. So I am coming from a place of not having. I understand what it means to be poor, really poor, because I've been in that place. And one day I sat down like, I can see millions in my account. Then definitely I have a story to tell. I can actually help other people. I wanted to be who I am. I wanted the world to see, because I used to hide. I didn't want people to know. I was afraid that once they know that I wear the face veil, nobody's going to buy from me. I just decided that why should I continue to keep myself away from who I truly am? I am myself. My authentic self is a Muslim, fun-loving mom, woman, friend, who wants to tell people about her religion, who wants to do good business. I just wanted my authentic self, there, and then hoping that I can inspire women. The average woman thinks that they have to go to the office to work before they make money. And I want to say, no, you can actually be a stay-at-home mom and do amazing things. I work from home. When my kids leave the house, they see me. When they come back, they see me. They're able to tell me everything that happens to school, at school. I'm their best friends. And I can only do this thing by letting people, other women, know that you can actually do it. And so I did a documentary. I told the world who I am. I was scared the day we posted that documentary. I was so I was really scared. I was worried that people who are like me will wonder, why do you have to bring yourself to social media? I was worried that people who are not like me will say, who the heck is this? What I can buy, I can see her. Oh yes, I can't buy from you when I can't see you. I've heard a lot of that, and I wonder why they buy from Amazon when they don't see any stuff, So, and then I posted the documentary, and it was shocking. I actually saw women who say, I'm crying right now. Muslims and non-Muslims, that we didn't know this is who you are, and you mean you have done this? And so since 2021 to 2022, it's been wonderful. I would speak to celebrities and influencers to come to my kitchen, and nobody has turned me down. I find that really amazing. I realized that I think a lot of things is more political than any other thing. Most of the people I invite are not even Muslims. Some don't even have Muslim relatives. And the only thing they say is yes. When I ask them, why did you come? They'll be like, you inspired me to come. I looked at your page and I'm like, she's doing this? Then I just have to support her. So I get a whole lot of that. Something amazing happened to me this weekend, during the week. I needed some amount, a huge amount for growth's sake, and somebody I have never met, ever seen. Off camera, I'm going to tell you how much she just sent to me.
Yeah.
She just said, I want to help your business and whatever. And it was shocking. She doesn't know me. I met her on Instagram. We don't even talk. But she knew me on Instagram. And she said, I see how much you work. And she sent me huge amount to help build where I'm going to. So it's been fantastic. Non-Muslims, Muslim, it's been absolutely, it wasn't what I thought would happen. And I'm pleased about, I rarely have any problem. Once in a while you see those people, that's life. But on the average, being my authentic self on social media or whatever I am, it's been a blast, really.
Wow, that's really amazing. Well, thank you so much for cooking
coming.
for me. This food was amazing. I'm going to finish it when we finish
But we
this
have one
interview.
more food to
We have
cook.
one more food. We have one more
Yes,
food to cook. Okay.
we have one more
so
food
we'll
to
be
cook.
finishing some more
Yes,
food. But
yes.
thank you so much for the interview. I've really enjoyed my time here with you and just hearing more about your story.
Thank you
it's
very much.
so inspirational. So
Thank you. It was my dream. Like I said, I've been following you for quite a while, and I'm like, this guy's leaving my bucket list. I'm not about really tasting. I'm more about smelling because I don't like to eat. So I'd rather just, perceive the aroma and, maybe my tasting will just be touch it and put it. So I really I'm like, I keep showing my kids, look at this guy living my life. And then I told my girl, she has a page, she has a salon business. She's a very young lady and she's doing amazingly well. So she came to visit me and I said, there's this guy I follow. I wish I could invite him to come to my kitchen. And she was like, but you can do it. I said, how? She said, don't send a DM, send a mail.
Yeah.
He would respond. And then I sent a mail. When I saw it, I was shouting. I was like, he responded. Yeah. And when he said, no problem, I'm like, oh my God. Oh, this is amazing. Thank you very much for honoring my invitation, for coming and just being absolutely amazing. And I'm sure your authentic self too.
Thank you.